Whenever we look at a problem involving two proportions, or two means, we're always going to be examining the difference rather than the individual figures. It's important to understand why this is the case. And to do this, let's go ahead and look at an example. Here we have two graphs. Let's start with the top left. This graph talks about the percentage of 16 to 19-year-olds who are employed during the year. The top one shows the summer average, and the bottom shows the rest of the year average. Notice first off that employment for teens is higher during the summer than the rest of the year, which makes sense according to the school year. What we're really interested in here is the trend that's happened over the years, and specifically we're going to start by looking at what happened during the height of the recession, right here, at 29.6% of teens working during the summer, and then what's happened in the more recent years with this 35%. The question we want to ask is, has there actually been a change? And if we just go off the graph, the answer is, well, yeah, obviously there's been a change. We went from 29.6% to 35%. However, we need to take into account the fact that they didn't ask every teen. They didn't ask everyone 16 to 19-year-olds. In fact, these polls can have a variety of sample sizes. For instance, if they only asked 1,000 people, well, going from 29.6% to 35% with 1,000 people, the question becomes, well, could that just be chance? That is, did we just happen to get a group in 2010 that had a low percent and just happen to get a group in 2017 that had a high percent? This is why we look at the difference between the two of them. That is, if I'm going from 29.6 to 35%, that's a difference of 5.4%. The question we really should be asking here is, okay, we want to know, is there a change between the two? That is a jump of 5.4% enough to say, okay, this is a definite change and not just chance that these two samples are different? We can see the same type of question in the bottom right graph. On the bottom right graph, we see once again trends for teen employment. Here, though, it's split up not by summer versus rest of the year, but rather by the type of employment they hold. Something that's been really interesting to people tracing this over time is the difference in food services versus retail positions. And what we can see here is that, in fact, right now, or I shouldn't say right now, a couple years ago, we had 33.8% of employed teens were working in food services, while 21.4% were working in retail. This looks like a pretty big difference. If we look back here, we can say that we had 22.6% previously in food services versus 24% in retail. What's interesting about this is it looks like the percentage in retail has fallen over the years. We went from 24.0% to 21.4%. The question we could ask then is, has there been an actual change in the percentage of people working in retail? That is, due to online services and such, have we seen a fall in the number of people in these positions? I want to caution us that while we can never conclude causation, we can show that things have changed over time. We would do that by saying, okay, 24% originally, 21.4% now, which means there's been a change of negative 2.6%. I get that negative 2.6% by taking my current value and subtracting off my other. So 21.4 minus 24, that's a change, once again, of negative 2.6%. The question is, could that negative 2.6% be just due to chance, that is, my samples just happen to be a little bit different, or does it show a significant reduction in the percentage of teenagers working in these industries? This shows us once again another example of why we look at the difference between the two rather than them individually. We're trying to compare the two values to show a change in time or a change between industries, and for that reason we subtract and then we look at that difference.